Hi, thank you so much for joining. Hi, guys, how are you doing? So, today I want to have a conversation around vibe coding. Now, what is vibe coding? And so, in next 15 to 20 minutes, I would like to go on and I would like to help you. What is vibe coding? How my one of my learner leverage vibe coding to get the higher package in their AI profiles. How can we go on and get started with vibe coding, or you guys can go on and start vibe coding in your day-to-day life so that you can be job ready. Correct. So I would like to go on. I would like to start with this thought. Try to understand when I started my career in 2009, started studying. Uh, we started with NSIC, and from there on we got C++, and I'm like, oh my god, C++ is much a little easier than C. And then when we started working, I started working in R programming. I remember that. Or before that, we started using SPSS, IBM SPSS during our academics for a lot of statistics and at that point of time, data science work. Machine learning was not that uh, famous at that point of time. And then we moved to R where we got libraries, and I'm like, oh my god, now we just have to import a library and install CSV files and a lot of Excel files. And then in around 2014, I introduced to Python, and I'm like, this is a simple English, even though it was not. And now we have vibe coding. What do you observe in this last 4 to 5 iterations? Let me just go on and tell you. You must have observed that every time the programming language is getting easier, and now the programming language has been eased in a way where you can write it down a syntax in a plain English, and the AI or a LLM will go on and transfer or transcript your language into a computer language and convert that into a code. Now, this is one of the simplest example of giving vibe coding. What is vibe coding? But how? But I would like to know that why does that happen? So try to understand that your brain doesn't work in one component. So for an example, try to understand your brain as your iPhone. Now, when you go on and when you want to raise a hand like this, your brain already give a trigger to one of the neurons to raise the hand. What does that mean? Your brain already knew that you wanted to go on and you wanted to raise a hand. So it just triggered that particular neuron, which is going to go on and raise the hand. Now, what does that mean? I wanted to go on and give you an analogy, try to think of it as a particular app. When you go on and when you want to check a weather, there is a different app. When you want to go on and when you want to use, for an example, WhatsApp or some text messaging, you have WhatsApp. When you want to go on and use, like I'm using now, I'm live, I'm using LinkedIn. Now, the same way your brain has a different components. And now, before you know that, your brain goes and triggers that particular neuron to take some actions. Now, how can I, these two things are correlated, Sufi? Try to understand, and believe me, this will make sense to you. Try to understand that when you go on and write it down in plain English, the LLM already knew what you are talking about, and it has a trillions and huge corpus of data which is stored, which translate your learning or your what you're talking to the LLMs. I'm talking about big giant LLMs like GPT, Entropy, Gemini, Perplexity, etc. Now, what do? They try to understand what is your understanding. With that corpus which they have, try to go on and trigger an action to a particular LLM that you go on and you do this. And then they go on and they provide the output. simple the way you go on and you use ChatGPT, but for the coding perspective, what does that mean? And why there is a hype of vibe coding? Now, the hype of vibe coding is because earlier when I used to learn C, C++, R programming and Python, I need to learn that syntax, and I am the only one who can go on and learn the syntax and do work. But now, what is happening over here is anyone in the world can go on and have an idea and execute that. I would like to go on and I would like to give you one more example or one more thought process. When I used to go on and build machine learning models, suppose you join a new company and you want to go on and build a machine learning model, what will you do? So for an example, I want to go on and I want to predict a sales for a particular quarter from my work. How are we going to go on and work around with? One of the things which is really important is you go on, list down the data, understand the problem, write down the assumptions, do the EDA, then build a model, then iterate a model, then deploy a model, then connect with the APIs, and then go on and do a lot of work around with the APIs, and then take it out live. What if I will go on and I will tell you that I did that the entire process in less than 5 minutes? Why does that particular thing important than Sufi? Vibe coding is every I was in Silicon Valley and I was talking to a lot of AI founders, and I got to know that now, earlier, as the programming languages were getting simplified, now it is simplified in a way that any human don't even need to write down, just speak to a computer in a common language, whichever the AI can understand. But because AI can understand any language today and can go on and build their idea into an app. Now, this is what exactly vibe coding is. Vibe coding gives leverage to a common individual like you and any other who doesn't know programming, is basically go on and can build the entire app with a plain simple English or in their mother tongue. Now, don't you think that is fascinating? People will argue that now the vibe coding is there, then what is all about developers? Do we need to, like, other day, couple of months back, I was talking to one of my neighbors, and he was like, my manager told me that I need to learn AI, otherwise after a year or two I need to think about when we go on and when we work about the appraisals, we will be considering that particular aspect of yours. And he was like, Sufi, do you think I'm irrelevant? I'm like, no. What do you think? Why do you think you're irrelevant? You are the most relevant person in the world today as a developer. And I'm like, and he was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, think of it. Everyone is now going and building an app, building a website. Now there are a lot of aggregators are there. You can talk about Lovable, you can talk about Replit, and a lot of others. I don't want to name them. Now, when someone go on and write it down there, put it up their idea to an LLM and build something extraordinary, their 80% job is complete. They just develop the particular skeleton. But how does that function? That's only developer knows. You have to do a lot of backend. You have to store, you have to connect the cloud, you have to connect a lot of API so that the data will transform. You have to secure that with lot of multiple aggregators. Correct? Those are the things which only developers can understand. So that is one of the aspects of why developers are age, and why coding is not going to kill them but going to enhance them. Second point, which I would like to go on and I would like to talk about it, is try to understand if you think vibe coding is going to be the future, then should we not learn Python, or should we not learn any programming language in that matter? I have always talked and share my knowledge in my live sessions and my mentoring sessions, keeping in mind that one of the most important thing to learn is a concept. Understands how, why do we write down functions? My own framework is doesn't start with what is what and how. My framework starts with why, starts with what, and then how. What does that mean? It means that when you want to go on and learn Python, understands why, what is, why that function you're writing, then what is that function, and then how to write it down. Try to understand that the part of why and what is only with you now. How part, the execution part, is only the LLMs can do. So for an example, if I want to go on and write it down, print hello world, the moment you go on and you understand that print hello world and tell them, it will go on and give you the code, and it will go on and give you the output, or you can go on and run that code or that syntax to get the output. Now in that way, if you don't know the concept of why and what, you won't be able to leverage what is the output. Correct. And I always believe that humans in next 5 years are going to be judged on the basis of their how judgment they are using their judgment to leverage the business. It's not about the execution part. Like, for execution, we do have a lot of LLMs now. So try to understand that when someone is learning Python, they need to understand the concept. The moment they understand the concept and the syntax, then only they can make sense of the output. So why and what part is still with us. It's just that the how part is something which LLMs are executing. What does that mean? It means that the more you have experience, the more you have knowledge around those why and what, like why that particular concept and what is that particular concept, then let the how part be in anywhere. Someone who has been sitting in Nigeria and only learning about how, what is the loop concepts, what is the array concepts, what is the functions, what all are the data structures. Only those people who are aware about the data structures like tuples, list, and all those things, and what is the difference between them, and how to understand the output, correct, why it is what it is. When someone is writing it down the code, they can go on and understand what is the syntax is doing, and then understands the output. It is not about the programming is now no more, it's about more programming has been enhanced, and now with that we have to be more enhanced to understand the concepts in this today's LLM age. Knowing, I put it up a particular reel couple of days back, that in this today's age, knowing the concept is much more important, and that is what we are going ahead. Does that mean that we are going in 200, 300 years back? Think of it, when in 1700 or 1600, how do people used to spend their life? They used to go do art, they used to do music, they used to go out, hang out with the people, bitch about it, gossip about it, correct? And let the, I don't want to use a term, but let lot of the repetitive task, there are a lot of people who are there, servants are there. So now are we going towards that age? I'm like, let's the execution part be on the AI, and let me just go on and enjoy my life, and I will only charge on the basis of my judgment. That's the kind of world I see in next 5 years with vibe coding. Now, how do you use vibe coding in your day-to-day work or in your day-to-day job readiness? I would say that understands the error. So, for an example, if you go on and I write it down a particular code, try to know that where that particular code or that function will fail. Try to have that sense and try to find out the error. And then from that error, you can go on and you can leverage The more you know why, the better it will be for you in today's age. The age is not for what and how, the age is for why. The age is for curious people. I always start my session with why. Like earlier in my live session, my learner was like, do you think learning data science was now no more, because now I have a part which knows everything about it and I just need to go on and learn and then implement? I'm like, no, data science is much more relevant, because now you have someone who can do work for you, and you will be get paid for your knowledge, your experience and your judgment. And this is a very beautiful time in today's age. I'm working on a project of how 2030 data analyst will think. I don't think there will be a data analyst in 2030. I think there will be a judgment maker. There will be a decision maker in 2030. Because when I see lot of content, I myself in 6 years now in digital and 12 years in corporate, I feel like the world is where the execution will be done by the robots or a machine, and we will take the judgment. And for that, you need to learn how to connect things with each other. So, for an example, the term API and the term doc, lot of other, I don't want to use it on live, but a term APIs and the term connectors are becomes more important than knowing. So, for an example, I always talk about the concept of depth and breadth. I don't want to talk about it now, but try to understand that you don't need to know logistic regression. You just need to know how does that logistic regression work. You don't need to know the math behind that, because math you don't need to go on and write it down, but what it is doing is something which is really important. What was the manager's job like now and earlier? Their job is just to go on, see the code and understands how the code is doing, and tell the executive that you can go on and do this, improve this, extract and remove that. This is something which is beautiful, don't you think? So vibe coding is something where, if I will go on and I will simplified version, is something you have to go on, just talk to a computer, and it will go on and it will give you an entire website. Do you want to see now? I can go on and I can build one in front of you. Okay, okay. No worries then. So with that, I just want to go on and I want to stop it. I hope you guys really like it. And in the next live, I will be talking a lot more around vibe coding, how you can go on and you can leverage that. We discussed one thing, the error part, that how you can go on, learn about the error in a syntax or in a function, and learn a lot more around that. One of the things I would like to go on and I would like to tell everyone that there's no need to fear around it. You just needs to go on and keep getting better, understand the concepts, because in this today's age we don't need degree. In this today's age we need understanding of the concepts, how you can use, why it is. And for the execution part, you have LLMs. Just try to make something which is more useful and more close to you, like I always do. I always love connecting with my learners. That's the reason I enjoy mentoring a lot more. So if you are searching for a job and don't know where to start, how to start, what to do, you can always book a free clarity session with the mentors. I'm creating a marketplace where I can go on and have a mentor and mentee who can work together, because I always feel like clarity and positioning is really important. With that, you will get the judgment of the mentor to get better in your career. So with that, if you guys are confused as well, scared as well, do not need to. go on and learn a lot more around what is going to be the future. Book a free clarity session with me or with other mentors as well. We will go on and help you out. It's a very beautiful time we are living in. I'm still, understanding how and what we can go on and do that. So, yeah, with that, thank you so much. We will meet next week again on Vibe Coding Part 2, where I will talk a lot more about interview strategies, in project strategies, which will help you to go on and to do that. And probably I might launch my guidebook as well. See you in the next live. Thank you so much for joining.